Hey guys, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Friday, April 25th. This private mentoring session is with Steven. It's scheduled for 2 o'clock, but he wanted to start a little earlier, so we are about to get started shortly. So I'm just going to finish setting this up. I'll send the link out, and then we will be good to go. Good. Let me get this link sent over to Steven. So send this link out to you guys here as well. Hey, Steven, can you hear me?
Okay, hello?
Hey, Steven, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. How's it going?
Okay, fine, Sean. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, what did you want to cover today? I'm not sure what you wanted to cover. We cover whatever you need help with, so it doesn't really matter the detail. It's just kind of curious what you want to focus on today, so I have an idea.
Yeah, so the main thing is passing the prop firms and
Yes.
using trading view. So sometimes when I use the indicators and I get a valid signal, my trade still goes into a loss. So I'm not sure why that happens, but most of the times they do go into profit.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's a couple different things that you can be looking at. Like for the most part, it would be like the confluences because the
Okay.
a momentum signal on its own, it's not like a standalone. I mean, you can do a standalone, like if you just want to take every momentum signal, but you definitely want to follow the more quality entries, and it kind of depends on like there's a couple different factors. So it'd be confluences. Another factor would be the time that you're trading, the asset that you're trading. Sometimes like certain assets are slower than others at different times of the day. And it just kind of depends on like what you're trading at the time. So those are a couple of things that you can, I guess, list on your checklist for things to look at. If you have a specific asset that you like to trade, we can kind of narrow it down. If there's a specific time that you want to trade, we can narrow it down even more. So it kind of just depends on like your specifics.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's a US 30 and gold. So, uh, I notice around the end of a New York session, going into Asia session, uh, I usually enter a buy and I get a valid, momentum signal and the candles.
Okay.
Um, but then during like a late Asia session, it changes around. Like sometimes when there's a valid momentum signal, and uh, you know, I check all the time frames, and it shows one direction, and then I enter the trade, and then as the time passes by, the the direction changes, and I'm already in the trade. So that's the next part I'm confused about.
Yeah, yeah, no,
You see
definitely.
what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I totally
Yeah,
understand. So you can kind of even see here on my screen. See how it's like, or are you looking at my screen at all?
yeah, I can see, yeah. And
Oh,
see, I see the all the way to the end, there's the red momentum line and the red candle. Now, since this is a sell momentum, does the red candle have to be under all the pivot lines, or not necessarily?
yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what you're trying to take. Like if you're looking for something that's short term,
Yeah,
ideally you want it to be below, even long term, like it sounds like, and from the screenshots that you showed me, it looks
yeah.
like you're trying to like ride the trend, right? So you want to ride in the direction of the trend. So yeah, if you're doing those types of trades, it's basically like a break and retest or a continuation where price goes up, retraces, and continues up higher, right? So ideally, yes, you would want price to be below and you'd want the pivots to be kind of angling to the downside. So for example, right here, I wouldn't take the sell here because
I
price
see. Yeah.
hasn't really confirmed anything. Something like this over here, possibly, but this is like towards the end.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it's towards the end of the session. So like right now, obviously I
Okay.
wouldn't make any of these entries. But like if we went earlier to like say for example, like I'll zoom in a little bit,
Okay.
something to like this right here, then I, maybe would take that. I'm not sure if you trade on the 1 minute or do you trade on a different time frame because that will also play a factor. Because if you're trading on a
Yeah.
higher time frame, we can change the time frame, like if you're trading on the 5 minute or the 15 or anything like that. Because the criteria changes a little bit. Because if you're trading on a higher time frame, then you're going to be looking for like bigger moves. Or you're going to be holding on to it for like instead of a couple seconds, you're going to be holding on to it for like a couple minutes, if not a couple
Okay.
hours. So
I see. I see. So I check all the time frames, and like for example, when I see when the candles are a mixture, like you'll see like the 1 hour and the 4 hour are bullish, but then the 2 hour and the 3 hour are bearish, and then the 30 minutes is bearish, and the 45 minutes is bullish. Uh, that's the next part. I'm not sure about. So what I'm trying to do is catch 10 digits. So I assume that's 100 pips, right? What
yeah, I think so.
$10
Mm.
difference? Yeah,
Okay, yeah, like a $10 difference. So that's like about that'd be like 100 pips, I think, because you're trading US
yeah.
30. That would be
No,
10.
no, a gold. I'm talking about for a gold. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So for
yeah,
gold, let's see, we can even pull it up here. So like for me,
yeah.
the multiple time frames that I look at would be
Yeah.
like 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute,
Okay.
4 hour, 4 hour. Those are like the different, but you don't have there's no specifics, right? Like you can go instead of using a 30 minute, you can use a 45 minute. It's really up to preference. But like you're on the right track. You want to be looking at it on
Yeah.
a perspective where you're kind of looking on the lower time frames, the middle time frames, and also the higher time frames. Because you're basically what you're doing is you're trying to ride the wave, right? That's kind of what you're looking for. So you
Yeah.
trade gold, and I'll just look up. So I'll just look at GC because GC is like the actual. This is the feature of gold.
Okay.
And yeah, I know you trade XAU USD. It's the same thing. It's just this is going to be the raw price. I think we talked about this with your broker. Your brokers, the pricing is going to be a little different, but it's the movement will be the same. So
Okay.
um, how long do you usually plan on holding the trade, or how long do you like to hold it for?
Yeah. So I hold it until until it moves $10, and then what I also do is every time it moves $5, I move the trade to break even. But you
Oh,
know what? Yeah. So what I notice is that like for example, right now, if you look at the let's say there's a for an hour, it says it's bullish for an hour. So
mhm.
that means an hour from now I have to enter a buy, right? Is that what that's trying to say?
Sorry, yeah. So like for example, right here, you said you're looking for a $10 move, right? So let me just kind
Yeah.
of look at this from this point. So this is at 33.21. So you basically would be aiming for 30 33.31,
Okay.
which would be yeah, it's basically I guess it'd be a 100 pip move for you. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to gauge like how long it usually takes for it to hit. Let's see, let's measure
Yes.
here. So
So yeah, the end of New York session going into Asia session, I noticed that it usually moves hits really quick. And then what happens is it actually hits another 10 digits. And then, I start getting FOMO. And then I realize I should have, held the position longer. But then when I enter it, it starts going back, retraces, traps the, buyers, and then it goes back up again. So
exactly.
that's another thing I messed up on. So, when I don't need to take the trade, I don't want to take it. So that's another thing I'm trying to figure out, when when I should not enter it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And those are valid questions. So I
Yeah.
think, I mean, it kind of depends on like what you're trading. I wouldn't trade on the 1 minute. I probably would go on something like the five if you're going for 100.
Okay.
Because the 1 minute, you're going to get like these smaller swings, right? Like for example, like there's a buy, it's still going to hit, like these trades still hit, but it takes a lot longer, right? Because you're looking for
Yeah.
a signal and it'll hit eventually. So I mean, it's not necessary to go on higher time frames, but
Yeah.
I think the signals would make more sense and they would just be more in line with like what you're looking for because
Okay.
points is a pretty big move for gold, right? I mean, it's not a big move, but it's like it's not a quick move. Like normally I would have gone for like maybe 50 points or 50 cents versus
Yeah.
the 100 that you're going for. So like you can see here that they still hit. Like if you look at the buy signals, pretty
Yeah.
much it's like any buy signal here for gold. Like this one would have hit, it would have taken a long time, but it would have hit.
Yeah.
Same with this one down here. This one also would have hit, but again, it would take quite some
And
time.
and also my stop loss is also 100 pips too. So this strategy, has been, working out for me, but I'm trying to understand it better because, there's times where I should not take the trade and I still enter, whereas there's other times where I should have taken it and I didn't enter. So that's the next part I'm trying to improve.
Yeah. It kind of depends on like your preference too, because
Yeah.
like I mentioned in the live session, you can be either a person who takes every entry, or you can be a
Yeah.
person who takes only the quality entries. So it's just kind of it depends on your personality, right? If you're like the
I
type
see.
that like wants to be in all the time,
Hmm.
then you can take every entry, but you just take a lower risk. You go for the same 100 points, but you go for lower risk. Eventually, it'll balance out. Like you'll make more profit than losses
Okay.
term. But it just kind of depends on like your preference here. So.
So
Yeah, do you know what you're like what do you prefer? Do you prefer to take more trades or do you prefer to take less trades?
yeah, so I have several accounts, and in one account I try to make consistent gains, and then the other one is where I take more risk.
Uh,
So at least this way I have profits coming in if I lose money in the other account. It's not like I have to start all over and deposit more money. But lately that has been happening, where I've been like I start doing well, and then all of a sudden I make a loss, and then I feel let me martingale or let me enter again because now there's the pullback and sellers are and buyers are trapped. So now I have a chance to enter again. But then again it goes back. Even though all the time frames have a valid signal and it's showing like a bullish momentum, it still goes back. So I don't understand. Is it because of the news? Or is it because, of the manipulation? That's
there,
another thing
yeah,
I don't understand.
there could be a lot of factors. So it
Yeah.
could I mean, do you have like like a time that you normally trade where stuff like that
Yeah.
happens? Okay.
Yeah. So usually for gold, I usually trade during the end of a New York session because what I notice is the price, it usually the movement starts to slow down. And then when it starts to slow down, uh, I try to look for a buy. And I don't just enter a buy right away, until until I see that the price is struggling to go down. So as soon as that happens, that's when I start entering a buy. And then I notice I'm able to reach, 10 digits. But then sometimes what happens is even though the price slowed down and the sellers are struggling and the buyers are going to take over now, it still might move back like, another 5 or 10 more digits. But, overall, I'm able to, make my 10 digits.
Yeah, no,
That's one time, yeah, I trade. And then the other time I trade is around, close to a midnight Asia session. That's Eastern Standard Time because that's when I notice the price slows down. And I wait for a pullback and then I wait for the price to get stuck. And then once the price gets stuck, that's when I notice the bulls start, taking over. That's the strategy I'd be using for gold. But it doesn't, sometimes, uh, it still pulls back, and I'm trying to figure out why this is happening. I check the news, uh, I go to Forex Factory, I don't see any news on there. Uh, and other than that, I check the indicators, and I see now that everything is pointing towards bullish, but still the price moves back. You understand what I'm trying to say?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So from what you said,
Yeah,
you get the New York session, and I understand like why the volatility picks up and then it drops because that's called power hour. So like at the end of each
that's
session,
it.
there's a thing called power hour, and that's like where a
Yeah,
lot of volatility comes into the market, a lot of liquidity, and that's why you
yeah,
see that you'll see it get flat a little bit. Like for example, here at gold, see how it's getting flat. This is power hour right here. It gets flat for a little bit, and then eventually it starts to pick up, and then people try to get in.
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're trading at a good time. I'm glad that you're not trading like in the middle because when you trade in the
yeah,
middle, it gets really flat, right? Like Asia Open, that's like super, super flat.
yeah,
You're actually trading like at a really good time if you're looking for those volatility moves.
yeah.
The problem is that so I think you're gonna find more issues with trading the end of Asia versus trading.
End of Asia, yeah, yeah. Going into London session, it is usually volatile. I try to get at least one position, a day. But if I can get one the end of New York session and like the uh midnight, close to midnight during Asia session, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to overtrade, but still times I do overtrade. And I'm trying to avoid trades that I don't need. So
Yeah,
that's yeah what I'm trying to figure out. So I don't because I make profits. I'm doing well. I'm growing my account, but then all of a sudden I get FOMO, and then I take a trade I should not have taken, and then I revenge trade, and then all of a sudden now I blow my account, and then I have to deposit money again, and I keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. And then in the prop firms, that same thing happens. I fail the challenge. So that's another thing I'm struggling with.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. So like, I think what you should do is do you journal your trades at all, or do you just take them and you just like let them be?
Pretty much, yeah, because I'm using a Telegram copier. So basically, I have all my settings there, and as soon as I enter in Telegram, I can actually enter my own I created my own channel in Telegram where I just, I write buy or sell. And then as soon as I press enter, it enters a buy or it enters a sell with the correct parameters. So I don't need to, do all that. That's what I've been doing for the a breakout session. When you notice I send you the screenshots.
Yeah, yeah, no, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what you should do is you should probably like take note of like every trade that you take and then put it like in an Excel sheet or something just to like
Yeah.
understand when it's happening. So to minimize your losses, I think you need to figure out where your losses are happening. I think most of your losses happen at the end of Asia. And the reason for that is because when you trade at the end of Asia, it crosses over with London session. So that's kind of where you get
Oh,
those unusual price movements, right? Because like price will initially be going up. Like for example, if it's going up something like this,
Yeah.
and then I'm sure like you'll be holding on to the position and the volatility dies down, and then it kind of goes opposite, and that's where it kind of stops you out, and then it goes back up, right?
Yeah.
You see something like this happen very often, and that's something that happens a lot during Asia session. One way to, if you still want to trade Asia session, then I would say like wait for the fake out and then get in after.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I've been doing. I, you know, I wait for the price to, I wait for the sales to happen. I wait for, the sellers to, struggle. The price gets stuck, and then every time that happens, I enter a buy, and majority of the time it starts going up.
Mhm.
But uh, all the time frames don't need to be in the same direction, right? Like
Yeah,
all
yeah,
bullish or all bearish.
yeah, they don't need to. It's
Okay.
like if you have them all lined up, you're gonna have better
Yeah.
confidence that way because it gives you confirmation that people who are trading on the short time frames are also
Yeah.
looking for buys, and then the people in
Okay.
the frames are looking for buys as well. So you have a meeting of the minds basically of people in
Yeah.
the time frames and the people in the higher time frames, and that's what you want. Since you're trend trading, you want to trade with everybody else, right? You don't want to be doing opposite. You want to be doing what everybody else is doing, so that you can just ride that wave with them. So.
Oh, okay.
I think like the best way to kind of figure out like where to improve on would be to like basically just make a list. You don't even have to make an Excel sheet. Just make a list, like even in your Telegram, just you can even send a message to me. You can just make a list
Yeah.
of all the trades you take and then put a time like a time when you take it so that
Yeah.
you can track it. So the way that I got better with my consistency and avoiding losses is I tracked all my trades and I saw that a lot of my trades have well, all my losing trades happen at this certain time. So what happened is I just stopped trading at that time. And I think that's going to help you too, because if say for example, you trade the end of Asia, that's
Yeah.
going to be like midnight my time. You're up late if that's if you're trading.
Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah,
New York time. Yeah.
yeah, that's like 3 a.m. your time. So with you, once you have a set time where like you're losing trades a lot, like say for example, if you're always losing trades at 3 a.m.
Not
or
not all not yeah, not always. I keep the same schedule, but sometimes I still make a loss. Like yesterday, what happened was uh all the time frames were bullish, and I entered a buy, but then it changed. Now everything's starting to change to bearish, and I'm already in the position because the for example, the 1 hour, 4 hour, 3 hour, 2 hour, they all said bearish. And then, I entered the buy because I assumed that in an hour, 2 hour from now, the price is gonna, start going up. But then all of a sudden everything changed to bearish and I was already in the position. So in that case, like how often do I need to check the different time frames? Like every half hour, like every few
yeah,
minutes?
I would check like probably every half hour, maybe
Half
every hour.
hour?
The
Okay.
problem is so the problem with the crossover between Asia and London is during that time period, like during Asia session,
Yeah.
there's typically something that happens. It's not in the
No,
news.
late. I'm sorry. It was a late Asia session, not going into London session. So it was supposed the trade was supposed to go into a buy, but
Mhm.
then it switched. I was already stuck in the position then afterwards, and I didn't want to lose my place in case it does go up. So that's why I stayed in it. But I should have exited. That's what happened.
Yeah, this was yesterday, right?
Yesterday, yeah, I can send you the trades, what happened, but
Yeah.
I followed the indicators, and still it switched instantly. And, I should have exited, but there was no way for me to know that, unless I, checked every few minutes. But, that's just inconvenient having to check it, every few minutes. So that's why I'm trying to figure out why. You said every half hour I need to check all the time frames, right? Hours and the 30 and 45 minutes.
Yeah, that'd probably be
Okay.
best. I'm
Okay.
assuming your entry probably happened right here around like 17 or 1800 my time. This
Yeah.
is Asia. This looks like where it started to turn. It looks like you might have tried to get in. Do you know what time frame you entered on, or what time frame you took your
Uh,
like? Was it 1 minute?
So when I see that, the 1 hour is a bullish and the 4 hour is bullish, I enter. But like how we have this momentum line here, and the green candles actually below, it's still goes into profit. So if this was the case, I should not have entered, right? Even though all the candles are showing bullish, right? See how the green candles above the blue and the green pivot lines?
This one right here? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's kind of that's probably where you entered from. So what I've noticed from my experience is, and this is when I used to trade Asia session, I
Yeah,
always lost trades between 1700
yeah,
and 2000. Basically, this is like 10 p.m. my time. So I stopped trading Asia session. What I realized when I was trading is that before this, like between 1400 to like 1600, I would win my trades. Like for example, there's an entry right here that came up, at that time that I mentioned.
yeah,
Uh, and then usually, so this is where the crossover happens between Asia and London. And
yeah.
this is where I used to lose trades too. So I just stopped trading like late into Asia. I only trade early Asia once it opened.
Okay,
And then I would trade like maybe London open or like crossover into London. But looking at this trade here, so let's just analyze it. So 5 minute
yeah.
here, you said 15 minute was bullish, 30 minute
Okay,
was bullish, 1 hour. So
okay. Yeah, yeah. Hold on. See how when you went back, there was a red candle on the momentum line, so that makes it invalid, right? Because the candle wasn't. Yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah. See where the red candle is? In the
this
green
is right.
moment, green.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one.
yeah, you kind of want them to line up. So you kind of
Okay.
want to line up so you have that confluence. So yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
this would have signaled me to like, okay, maybe this is not a good one. Um, but yeah, like it doesn't matter which time frame you go on. Like for the most part, it looks like if you went across the board, they would kind of like line up. The 1 hour here is not really bullish. You can see it's shifting to bullish, but it's
Yeah,
not exactly bullish yet.
yeah,
Kind of want it to look like this over here. See how these pivots are kind of like spread out? Like when the pivots are spread out like that, it's going to indicate that this is a strong trend. Over here, the pivots were not really spread out; they were barely shifting to bullish.
yeah,
So when I see something like that, that would kind of
yeah.
indicate to me like, okay, it's a little too early to take that entry at this point. And let's go on the 4 hour.
4 hour. Okay. Yeah.
That look good. So a lot of these here did look good. I think it was just the
Yeah.
time of your entry, the time that you're looking to enter from. Just from my experience, like basically 1700 to 2000, I think this would be like 5 o'clock
Yeah.
my time, I think 5 o'clock my time, so that'd be 8 o'clock your time. Usually between like 8 um and like we'll say 11, around that time, you see a lot of just sideways movement. If I go over here for a little bit, see how like right here the market just kind of ranges for a bit, and this is kind of what you were talking
Yeah. Yeah. I see that.
like if you ever go back and you just kind of look at the market during this time period, you'll see that this happens pretty often between this period. It goes like what you'll see here is it'll come down a little bit and then it might end up swinging all the way back up.
Okay. And see, there was a momentum line I saw earlier.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, 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 there it is. Okay. Hold on. So the red candle is on, under the pivot lines, but not all the pivot lines. It's under only in the blue and the green, but not the red and the yellow pivot lines. So that would be invalid, right? Because it's not under all the pivot lines, right?
You're talking about this one right here, or are you talking about this one?
Uh,
Or which one?
no. Yeah, you almost got it. See the long red candle on the momentum? Yeah, yeah. See how it's below the blue and the green pivot lines, but
Mhm.
it's not below the red and the yellow pivot lines. So, what would that mean? It's
Well,
invalid because, yeah,
well, I wouldn't say it's invalid. It's just not, it hasn't shifted yet to bearish. Like this is like where you can see it starts to fall from here, right? So like we could say
yeah,
like
yeah,
buyers were in control up until like maybe this candle right here. And then from here, the sellers start to push price down, right? So I wouldn't necessarily look for any sells here yet because like, this could just be a small retracement and it can easily come back up. I would wait for the next confirmation. So I would wait for this here and then this right here, this one is actually where your entry should be because this is where the it actually is below the pivots, right?
All of them, right? Below all the pivots.
Yeah, you want it to be below all the
Okay,
pivots if you have
I
some
see.
sort of confirmation here. And if we do this for 100, like you typically go for
Yeah,
$10,
yeah.
eventually here you can see it does eventually come down and hit. Or
Mm,
you could have even waited longer. Like I said, I typically don't like taking trades between 1700 and 20. So you could have waited for this one here because this is after 20. And this one actually would have been a lot better. See, this would have been perfect. It would have hit your TP with
yeah.
like literally no drawdown. It would just came straight down.
Sometimes, even though it's not under all the pivots, it still hits. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why did it hit, you know, this time, whereas, it wasn't supposed to hit because it wasn't under all the pivots.
Yeah, I mean that's where you take the risk, right? So like you
Okay,
could have easily taken the entry here, but the thing is like you have no confirmation yet. Like you
I
have no
see.
confidence to really look for the next entry. So like let's just go back and we'll replay from this candle here.
Okay.
So if you see
Yeah,
this sell signal here, this doesn't look like price is going to come down here, right? But you don't know that. Like you see it after the fact, but right now you don't know that price is actually going to come down.
mhm,
So right here, if you were to see a sell signal, like if you're looking for reversals, you would just
mhm.
mark up something like put a red line here. And you're like, okay, this is where you're expecting price to drop from, right? You could even
Yeah,
draw a box there if you wanted to. If you wanted to draw something like that, you're like, okay, this is where the turning point is happening. So this would just be your first confluence, like, okay, I'm just waiting for this here. And then now you wait for it to confirm as it comes down lower. And then as it comes down lower right here, this is where you start to look for the second confirmation. Because, okay, so like, let's go back to this one here. So now, see, like right here, you can get the idea. Like right at this point, you're just getting the idea, like, okay, I'm gonna maybe look for some sells here now because you're looking for the
yeah.
reverse session.
Okay.
And then once like this is just your confluence, right? Okay, I'm gonna look at this, but I'm not gonna enter it. I'm just gonna think about it. So right now you're thinking about a sell, and then now you get the second confluence right here,
Yeah.
and you get that pattern, right? The
Okay.
pattern to the downside. So right
I
here is
see.
where I would actually take the entry because right here at this point you now have a better idea that okay, price is going to shift. And then if you wanted to go on the higher time frames to like maybe confirm that even more, you can look over there,
Yeah.
price is starting to come in this direction. So
Uh, so let's say in the higher time frame, it wasn't showing a valid, a bearish signal, but in the shorter time frame, it did. So then in that case, what would I do then?
in this situation right here, if you wanted
Yeah,
to go on the shorter time frame, like say you were seeing this shifting on the shorter time
go
frame, I would
exactly. Yeah,
I would go for a smaller target. So I wouldn't
small.
go for
Oh,
100.
okay, I see. Yeah,
I would instead go for 50 for
50. Okay.
and also like looking at the ATR down here, this also shows you that the average range is at about
Yeah.
50 points. So if you have that set up at
So,
50 and 100, it's gonna hit it faster. You can see right here, it kind of goes back and forth for a little bit, but then eventually
yeah.
it ends up coming down and hitting. Yeah, so you would just adapt with the market. Like if you're trading on the lower time frames, you would just go for a smaller target. If you're trading on
Okay.
the time
I
frames,
see.
go
I
for
go
a
for
bigger target. You're $10 from there.
yeah. That's my main focus. So if I don't need to trade on the shorter time frames, then I don't want to do that. So I'd rather stick with the longer time frames. But what another thing that I think I asked you earlier, but I'll ask you again. Uh, you know, let's say the 1 hour is showing a bullish momentum. So that means 1 hour from now, the candle's going to start moving up, or it's already starting to move up now, and then it'll stop moving up in an hour. Is that what is the signal trying to say?
Yeah, so the signal over here, like if you see the buy signal that happens right here, there's no confirmation that price is really bullish yet
Yeah,
because if you look at the pivots, it's
yeah,
above the pivots, but they haven't really spread out yet, right? Kind of similar to what I
yeah.
mentioned here. Like you want them
Okay.
to be spread out like this, right? So for example, if we look at this one over here, this 1 hour, see how the pivots are spread out and they're all angling to the upside?
Okay.
So this one looks good because you can see it's just a continuation, right? If you zoom out a little bit, you're like, okay, price is going up, it's retracing down, and now it's going back up here. So this is a good example because you have it set up like that. I think what you have to do is if you want to go for 100 points, you have to like go on a time frame where the ATR is set to 100. So basically what you have to do with this is you have to move the decimal point over by one. Right now it's at 145. So like if you were to take a trade here, instead of if you wanted to trade on the 1 hour, you would go for basically 150 instead of 100. So see how you go to 150 and it goes, it's perfect, it plays
Yeah.
out perfectly. Let's go over here and let's see like what time frame you would typically trade on if you were to go for the 100 points. Like if you want to do 100 points, you probably would trade on like maybe the 30 minute. Yeah, so closer to the 30 minute over here. So let's see if we could find one.
Yeah. I also trade New York session too, but I forgot to tell you.
Yeah, it just
Early, I'm talking about when it's volatile during a New York session, I try to, sometimes I try to get another entry. I wait for the sellers to, struggle, and the price starts to move up. That's another time when I trade. So it's um you know basically around the news time, end of the New York session, and midnight around Asia session. Those are the three times I trade. But New York is usually, more volatile.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends on like what time you trade and you just have to figure out what time. Like say for example, if you wanted to trade like if you wanted to trade a New York session on like last night, right? If you were to trade New York session right here and you're looking for a possible entry, you kind of would just figure out what the ATR is like. Because you said you want to go for 100 points or 100 pips. That's kind of like your goal. So if you're going
Yeah.
for a move, you kind of want to figure out what the ATR is. So like down here, the ATR says 13. Basically, you want to look at the first three numbers. So right here, it's like 135. Your TP stop loss will be a little too high for that. So you want to go down maybe to a smaller time frame, something like this. So like maybe
Okay.
15-minute time frame. So now that you're on the 15-minute time frame,
Yeah.
you go over here to this buy signal. And if you saw this entry, this is about 1830.
Yeah.
You'd set this up and then you'd have your TP stop loss as close to the ATR as possible, which would be right now it's at 92, but you're going for 100, so it's fine. She's just going to round up. So this would be your entry there for a buy. And you can see right there, it plays through perfect for the 100 points. Same with this one over here. So if you look over here with this buy signal, it's an invalid buy signal, but still it goes up about 100 points. So it kind of just depends on like what time you're looking to trade. And you can see like it doesn't even go down to drawdown very much. And you're only holding on to it for like maybe one or two candles. If you go back over here, there's like another one, like all of these actually hit.
Yeah.
I think all of them hit full TP if you're going for 100 points.
Yeah. So the ATR has to be 140, right? Every time?
You wanna, so what you're gonna
Okay.
do, you're gonna move the like see right here where it says 9.7, you're gonna move the decimal point
Yeah.
over by one. Um,
Okay.
it's only for gold, so like it depends on the asset, but for gold specifically,
Yeah.
you want to have it as close to 100 as possible.
I see.
Yeah, because right here this would technically
Close
be
to,
would be 97.
yeah. Close
Um,
to 100. So, that should be fine, right?
yeah, because your target is
Okay.
100. So if you're going for 100, this would be fine.
Yeah.
Like you want to have
Okay.
it at 97, 110, somewhere around there,
Yeah.
like around that price point. Because what you want to do is you want to see your target or your trade hit within the first, couple candles. You don't want to be holding on to it for a very long time, right? Because that's when you get stressed out. Because like you said, if you need to check on the chart like every 30 minutes, it's gonna be a hassle because you can't really check on the chart for 30 minutes. So if you were to base your trades off the ATR, then you can find a time frame that actually fits, your target level. If you're going for 100 points, then yeah, look at the ATR at that level, and then you probably won't even have to look at the chart. So if you look at all the trades here that I marked up, they all
Yeah.
hit. So like within a 30-minute period, so you wouldn't even have to check on it.
Oh, okay. I see. I see.
Yeah. So
That's
you just like the strategy works on all time frames, but you got to figure out which time frame is right for your specific entry. So like say
yeah.
for example, like you're trading in the middle of Asia session and you're just kind of curious, like what time frame you should trade on.
The price slows down. That's why during Asia session, I trade around the midnight Eastern Standard Time
Yeah, exactly.
because
So
when
yeah, let's go to a random day. So let's go to a random day at midnight, right? So let's go to like
yeah.
Monday at midnight, and then I'm gonna look at the time frames to show you what time
And
frame.
Eastern Standard Time, make sure you factor that in.
Okay, so this would be 3 a.m. your time, which is midnight my time.
No, no,
And
no, midnight my time.
oh, okay, so that's not London session. That's still Asia session. So
Asia,
midnight
yeah,
that would
yeah.
be that'd be 9 p.m. So that'd be
Okay, yeah, you're in Pacific Standard Time. Okay, yeah,
I can change
yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah,
Let's see. So let's do New York time. Okay.
yeah,
So you said midnight your time, right?
yeah, midnight my time.
Okay, so say for example, you're looking for entries midnight your time. So this is the 15-minute time frame on Monday, and you can see the ATR is at 94, which is perfectly fine. You can do the 15-minute time frame. Maybe you want to go on the 25-minute.
But for the hundred, for for 10 digits, the higher ATR is better. Therefore, to be safe, it's better to choose a higher ATR. That's what you're saying, right?
You want something lower, like something as close. So like for example, see how the 25 here, the ATR is
Yeah.
at 123. This is too high.
Okay.
You're looking for a 10 point, 100 point move. So since this is too high, you want to go down a
Yeah.
little lower. So let's go down to like maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then this is a little closer. So this is like closer to like 104. If you want to go down to the 15-minute time frame, you can do that. And then so this gives you a sweet spot. So the sweet spot is looking for trades between the 15-minute time frame or the 20-minute time frame. Because the 15 will give you 94 and then the 20-minute will give you 104. So for example, if you're looking for a buy entry here, so see how this buy entry came up right here?
Yeah.
So looking at this right here, see how this would have hit your TP right away? Well, not right away, but it would have hit it within like less than an hour.
Oh, okay. I see. So
Yeah, so it just
I
depends on the time frame that you're trading on. So let's go down to the 15-minute, right? Same thing.
yeah.
So 15-minute, you have another buy signal right here, right? And then you want to go for this trade. And then you go for 100 points. And this would have also hit your full TP with
Oh,
like,
in just 15. Oh, wow. So in just
this is
15
about,
minutes. Okay.
yeah, well, this was about like 3 or 4 candles. So this is about like maybe 40 minutes that it would have taken to hit, but it would have hit your TP. So what my suggestion is, if you're doing that, you probably don't have to confirm on different time frames. You can just, I mean, you can, it's gonna give you more confidence with your entry, but it looks like you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't need to. You just stick to whatever time frame, your ATR. You're just basically looking for the time frame that's gonna match your ATR.
So close to 100, right? Not so much over 100 and not
Yeah,
so much below 100. So that's
exactly.
what I've been forgetting. Oh, I see. So I keep forgetting the ATR. So that's what I was no missing. Okay, I see now.
I think that was your missing piece. Honestly, if you trade on
I
this,
see. Yeah.
like if you're always going for, the 10-point move or the
Yeah.
$10, then as long as you have it as close to your, like, I mean, if I'm looking over here at the 15-minute time frame, it
Yeah.
looks like you would have had like so many wins here, right? I think you would have won almost every trade. Like this one over here would have won. I think the 15-minute time frame might be the one that you just need to focus on. I don't think you need to look at any other time frames. There's
So
another
15. So the 15-minute time frame is the one I need, and I make sure the ATR is close to 100. And the green candle has to be above all the pivot lines in a green momentum line, and the red candle has to be below all the pivot lines in a red momentum line, and the wick is not larger than the candle on the momentum line.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
I
sounds
see.
good,
Okay,
Brian. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see now.
It looks like so I just marked up like 4 entries here and they all would have hit
Okay,
for 100
I
points.
see now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was your missing piece. You just needed to
That's what it was.
you needed to trade on the proper time frame. I think you were just trading on the wrong time frame most of the time.
Okay.
Because the thing is, if you're trading on the 1 minute, you're not going to shoot for a 100 point or a 10 point move, right? That's
Yeah.
just way too much. It's too far of a move.
Yeah.
Um, Now that we've kind of figured out and we zoned into the 15-minute time frame, I think if you just stick to the 15 minute, it seems
15
like
minutes.
I mean it looks like all
And
in your 15 would have hit for the most part.
I see. And then now another thing is the the blocks that you see on a Forex factory, like you see yellow, orange, and red. Do I need to focus on the orange and the red block, more, or all of them
I would s-
matter?
I would say mainly the red and the orange because those are the ones
Red and
that
the
will really
orange. Okay.
yeah, those will really affect the market more,
Okay.
like whatever you're trading. It's
Yeah.
gonna well, it doesn't matter what country you're looking at, but like anything it's gonna affect gold regardless of the fact. So I would say mainly focus on orange and red because that's what's gonna push price and it can manipulate the movement. Um Other than that, I think the yellows are not so
So
important.
I see. Okay. So another thing I noticed is that when Trump speaks and the Fed speaks, that's when the prices are the most volatile. Compared to CPI and PPI and home goods and everything else.
Mhm.
Am I missing anything else? Besides Trump speaking and the Feds, that's you know more volatile, the most volatile.
So those events are gonna be like your biggest like well the thing
Okay.
with those is that you can't really time them, right? Like Trump, you
Yeah.
don't really know when he's gonna talk. He'll send a tweet out or he'll post something or say something and like
Yeah.
be random, like just in the middle of the day. So
Yeah.
for those, unfortunately, you can't really like time those types of news events. The
Yeah.
other like actual news events that you want to like be careful for would be like you said, CPI, PPI,
That.
NFP, the
Yeah.
main ones, right? The main ones. There's no other ones that are really going to affect. I mean, right now it's going to be a lot of the tariff news, right? Tariff news will come out at random, like right now, maybe for example, like China could say something and it'll post on CNBC or any of the other news sites, and you don't really have control over that, so you can't really
So
pay attention to it.
even though, even though all the we're getting a valid momentum signal and there's a major impacting news, I should still avoid trading, right? When even
Yeah,
though there's a valid momentum signal because Trump or the Fed speaking, right?
yeah, because the technicals
Okay.
don't matter. So like everything is news driven right now. So if the Fed says something about interest rates, like if the Fed says something about something good about interest rates, then gold is going to go down regardless. It doesn't matter what the technicals say. If you have a sell
Oh,
signal or buy signal, doesn't matter.
yeah.
Price is down. If vice versa, if they don't lower interest rates and they do something different,
Yeah.
then gold is going to go up because gold is a hedge across those economic events, right? If the
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I noticed that gold is moving the opposite of US 30. That's another thing I noticed. So a lot of times during the our live sessions when I see, you know, uh like the US 30 pushing one direction, I'll usually take an opposite for gold. And then for some reason, it's just amazing how, it hits. So is that, another thing I should be, doing when you give a direction for US 30, I do the opposite for gold. Is that, what I should be doing?
So there's no direct correlation, but the correlation
Okay.
does there's a correlating factor
But
because
it does a lot. I notice it does.
yeah, it's because like if the economy is good, the stock market's good, right? So that's why US
Yeah.
30 goes up, and then if the economy is bad, the
Yeah.
stock market goes down. So like I said earlier, gold is a hedge. So like basically gold is hedged across a lot of different assets. Like if the stock market is not doing well, gold will go up. If the stock market's doing well, then gold will go down because that's where people will typically like they'll trade opposite. So like if they're worried that a recession is coming, then they buy gold because gold is an asset that will keep appreciating. If the economy is doing well, then they take their money out of gold and then they put it
Yeah.
into other assets like stocks or anything else that goes opposite of gold. So I wouldn't necessarily just trade opposite whenever it's happening, but it is going
Okay.
to to some extent. It's not a direct correlating
Uh,
asset.
Okay.
The direct correlating asset would be the US dollars, the DXY, because the
Yeah.
dollar is directly correlated. So when the dollars, that's why when you see the pair, um, it's called XAU USD.
Versus the dollar, yeah, because the
Yeah,
dollar is competing with the gold. I see.
exactly. So it's like
I see.
it's a seesaw effect. So like when gold is stronger,
Yeah.
it'll go up. When the US dollar is stronger, gold will go down. So it's a seesaw effect. They're directly correlated. So the thing is like US 30 is correlated with the dollar. It's not directly, it's not like, the economy is not directly tied to
Yeah.
the stock market. So it does have a correlation, but it's not as correlated as the dollar. That's why if that was the case, then there would be a pair called XAU US 30, right? But there isn't because they're not directly correlated.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my personal accounts, uh I kind of have an idea, what I should be doing, but for the prop firms, it's a little different. I only want to take the best entries and just try to take one entry a day for gold. If I make, you know, if I just get one winning trade each day for gold, that should be enough because I'm going for 100 um pips. So I'm risking 1% per trade. So once I make $1,000 for gold, I just call it a day. That's what I'm doing for the prop firms.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's rewind to like
Yeah.
market for gold. So like
Yeah.
market open here for gold, you probably want to go on a bit of a higher time frame.
Yeah.
Let's see, maybe like 25, maybe 20. Okay, so I mean, it looks like the 20-minute time frame might be the better time frame to trade. So like for example, if you're looking for an entry here on
Yeah.
gold, uh I mean it would kind of depend because the thing is like you're not going to get entries all the time during that time period. Like it looks like there was nothing here during US session basically. I mean, I guess if you just want to take a breakout for gold, you can even just take the breakout. Like, you know how you take the breakout for US 30 in the morning? You can even just take the breakout for gold if you want. Because it looks
Oh, okay, I
uh,
see.
yeah, it looks like the breakout here actually works pretty well. So like gold over here on the 20-minute time frame. Um,
So
you go right here. So this is like right before market open. This is at 620. And then
yeah,
at 640 is where you're going to be taking your entry. So like as soon as this candle closes at
yeah.
640, where you would take the sell, right? Because the signal here is a sell momentum. So basically, instead of taking at 630, you'd look at 640, and then you go for 100 points here like you normally would. And it looks like it would, yeah, it looks like it hit right
So
there.
so then just take the breakout for gold, instead of US 30. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, it looks like it would work out pretty well here if,
That,
it might be the same
because
difference, but
uh for US 30, when I'm not sure if it's because it's US 30, but just taking the breakout, I'm, almost breaking even. That's
Mhm.
what I've noticed.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't I don't know if that's, going to be enough, just taking the breakout.
yeah. Yeah, the breakout. So that's the reason why I don't really use it anymore
I see.
for the prop accounts because
Yeah.
it's a break even type strategy. Like at the end of each month, you're gonna have maybe like one or two net wins. Like you're gonna have a week with a lot of wins, a week with a lot of losses. It ends up around break even. So like you said, it's not enough, right? Because you can be having a break even or a close to break even week almost
Yeah.
every week. Like at the end of the month, you'll have enough to like pass the eval, but it's gonna take a while, right? It's gonna take like a quite
Before
yeah.
before it was, working for when I was using FTMO,
Mhm.
it was working that time. So is
Yeah.
it because Trump is president? Is that why the breakout has been breaking even? Is that the reason?
No, I think it's because with FTMO, the profit target and your stop loss was equal. So like, like you'd have to make like 2,500 to pass and you'd have 2,500 to lose. The thing
Yeah,
with the prop firms is that they're not even. So like your profit goal is going to be like 5,000 and your stop loss is like 2,500. So the
yeah.
problem with that is that you have to take double amount of trades to pass, right? You can't, it's not just even. So I think before when you're trading with FTMO, it would still be break even. It just wouldn't seem like break even.
No, I'm using the same strategy. $1,000 for the TP and $1,000 for the stop loss. So that's what I'm also doing now. I'm using funding traders, and now I'm breaking even, or I'm making a loss, but then I'm making a profit again. So basically, yeah, I am breaking even. So in this case, I'm better off taking the M MPR entry, was it right? Or MVP entry?
MPS, so it's
MPS, okay, yeah.
MPS V2. It's short for momentum pullback scalp.
Okay.
You're better off looking for those entries like what we're taking on the live session. The only
Yeah.
problem, I don't think you're able to stay on the live session for the whole session, right? You're usually busy like after the
Yeah,
first.
yeah, because the biggest challenge is, I'm not funded yet.
Mhm.
So even if I were to stay during the whole session, uh, you know, I wouldn't be getting paid. I mean,
Yeah.
the only option I have is to buy the instant funding, but the thing is that the 50,000 costs 1,800. So I would need to spend about 3,000 to get 100,000 instant funded accounts. So that's another area I'm struggling with. Should I just buy the instant funding, or just use my or just pass the challenge right now,
Uh,
and then stay during the whole session?
yeah. So the instant funding I mean, there's a promo for Tradeify right now. It's for $150,000 account. It's only like 400, so it's not going to be as much as what you're.
Um, but oh yeah, but the thing is with Apex, there's a limit to how much you can get for your payout for the first 4 months. But with the other prop firms, there is no limit. So as soon as you make your profits, it's basically just like FTMO. You get your full profit split. So that's why I'm going with funding traders. Otherwise, I would choose Apex.
Yeah, and Apex doesn't have a direct to funding one, so like, you still have to do the eval. I mean, it's up to your preference. I mean, you can do that, but like you said, it's pretty pricey there. It's kind of like it's very
Or
expensive
yeah,
compared to the others.
and or another thing I'm planning to do is add the prop firm and the personal account to the copier. So what I can do is stay during the entire live session, and make profits in my personal account, and make $1,000 a day at least in my prop firm account. And then when my personal account has enough money to buy the instant funding, I can just buy the instant funding now, and then every day just use an instant funded account for $100,000, and just make my full-time income from that. That's another option I'm thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess you would have to choose the option that fits you at this point in time, because like there's gonna be risk involved if you waste more if you buy
What?
it, but also like there's more profitability as well if you do well straight out the gate.
So I noticed that our win rate is high. So
Mhm.
in that case, right now, instead of uh, you know, taking gold trades, it's better I just stay during the live session, and take trades for US 30. So, and then copy it to my prop firm and personal account, because the brokers I'm using, They offer 1 to 2,000 leverage. So if that's the case, I might as well uh, take a higher lot size in my personal account as well. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
what do you think about that?
That's what I would have done. I would have, if you're just able to stay on the live session and just take the trades that I take, because the trades I
Yeah,
take are usually pretty high quality. Like you said, we're on a win streak right now. Like we've had about, let me see, let me go to my stats.
yeah,
So my stats for the past 2 weeks, we have four back-to-back wins. So like, like
yeah,
you said, we did higher contract size or higher lot size,
yeah.
or just enough to make your goal. Like, what's your goal for the day? Do you have like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just remember another question. If I can make a $300 a day, then I could stay during the entire live session because uh you know I drive for Uber, so that's why I need to leave after the breakout. But if that's the case, and I can make 300 you know just from the personal account, then I think that would solve the problem. But now I have to send you the details for my broker, so exactly what lot size I should be using um, for the regular entries. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, because you're gonna have to like the way they would calculate it is because the thing is we don't have entries every day. So you'd
Yeah,
have to calculate it to like maybe two or three entries per week to calculate to add up to that amount. So like say for example, you wanted to make 300 a day, so 300
yeah,
times five, you're basically looking to make about 1,500 per week. So if you were to do
yeah.
that, you divide this by two or by three, I'd say it's by two. So your risk per day would be like 750. It's kind of high. I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's high for you. It's not high.
Yeah, yeah. So
Because like if you look back at the stats here, I mean, for the most part, we have like, for example, this week we had two wins back to back, like two win streaks. If you
yeah,
did 50 on both of those days, you would have made 1,500 for the week. And then same with last week, we had two trades back to back. You would have made 1,500 both weeks basically. Um, there's gonna be some weeks where there's more trades, but on average, you're probably gonna see
yeah.
maybe two or three wins. So like sometimes you'll make more,
Ah,
sometimes you'll make
yeah.
less. On average here, I'm just looking for it at the entire year. It
Okay.
looks you're gonna be hitting maybe two net wins. So you probably have to risk about 750 per trade. Like
Yeah, yeah. I can do that. But what kind of balance would I need, to risk 750 per trade, excluding the breakout, because it's obviously going to be risky.
yeah, so honestly, I'm not sure because you said your leverage is pretty high. So you
Yeah,
probably
yeah, 2001. Yeah, so that's an advantage I have.
Yeah, so you probably would need, and the thing is with our trades is they usually don't go into drawdown. Like you've seen our trades, they usually go straight to prop target. So you
Okay.
wouldn't
Yeah.
cover much margin. I would say you'd probably need like maybe a couple, like maybe the same amount that you'd be risking. So you probably need like 700 and maybe it's closer to 1,000 to be on the safer side, but I mean,
4,000.
you could probably go with even less because the thing is, so if the entries don't go into drawdown and it goes straight to TP,
Yeah.
it wouldn't matter because you wouldn't be eating any leverage, right? You'd just be going straight into profit. So it wouldn't matter how much, like you could literally start with like maybe like a couple $100, and if it never
Yeah.
goes into drawdown, you'd be fine because your margin's never going to get eaten into. So I mean, I'm not sure because I don't trade with forex brokers or anything that's high leverage. So for me, if it was going to be me, like on a regular futures account, you would need a
Yeah.
lot because leverage is so much smaller. It's like 1 to 10 or 1 to 50. But if you're like 1 to 1,000 or 1 to 100 or something like that,
Yeah.
you need a lot less, like maybe less than 1,000 probably in the account.
Okay, I see. So,
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Like I couldn't even do the math for you to understand like how much you would need with regard to that level. You probably would have to ask, the broker, like ask them directly.
okay, I see.
Yeah, you just ask them something like, if I want to take a trade with a $750 stop loss, how much margin do I need, or how much money do I need in the account to be able to take a trade like that without getting margin called out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because so I mean, if you do the math, I mean, you're probably gonna need a couple $100 because it's, just in case you go into drawdown.
Yeah.
Uh, again, I don't know how to calculate it because it's different. Lot sizes and contract sizes are different. Like if I was to calculate this by contract size, I would probably say like price might go halfway into drawdown. So $100 probably, yeah, you need to have like a certain amount. Like you'd have to have like I would say like at least half of the amount in your account. So I probably wouldn't do anything with like less than 500. Probably you need closer to like 700 to just match whatever risk that you'd be taking. Because if you
Okay.
yeah, because if you go into drawdown, you're gonna be
Yeah.
you want to cover drawdown at least for maybe halfway into drawdown. So that would be, half of 750. So like 750 divided by two. You basically would need about like 500 in the account to survive any retracement.
Yeah. I mean, all I need is just one payout of a 10,000, and then I could uh you know put a part of that into different accounts, and that would just make the whole thing easier. But I've been trying to get my payout for all these years, and it's just you know I haven't gotten to that part yet, and that's the goal. So then during the week I don't need to you know do anything else. I can just trade, and then in the weekends just do Uber. Then that's actually what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You want to be self-sustainable.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my goal too initially. Like when I first started trading, it was really just making enough to survive. And then after that, I just started to make more and more. So now
yeah,
like, that's why I'm not forced to take any trades, right? Like for me, I can take trades whenever like I see good entries. I'm not taking trades every single day.
yeah.
I don't have the
Exactly,
I don't have the pressure to take those trades. For you, it's different. Like you feel like you need.
exactly. Yeah, I'm like very pressured, and I'm basically working 7 days a week, and even when I'm driving for Uber, I'm still monitoring my trades. So I'm doing that at the same time. So it's just so stressful, and I'm just tired of having to work this much, and not getting any results,
Yeah,
good results. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's the problem, right? It's like you're so pressured into making certain
exactly.
profit, and that's
Yeah,
when you start to make your mistakes and you start
yeah,
to
exactly,
you're like
exactly. That's
you're
the
like
problem. Yeah,
yeah, you're like in a spiral, like you'll have
exactly. Yeah, it's a spiral for these, all these past years.
yeah.
When I
Yeah, because I've seen you like I mean you've been part of the group for a while, so I've seen you do well. Like this is a
Yeah, yeah. Remember, like I think a few years ago, I was doing well with the breakout, and then I stopped doing that because I made a loss, and then you know I wasn't getting paid. You
yeah.
know, so that's so then now I'm back to square one. So it's this whole spiral that keeps going round and round and round, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm trying to figure out should I do this, but then when I do this I'm back to doing this again, and then I get FOMO, I revenge trade, and should I just grow my personal account? But then that's not enough money. Let me buy a prop firm. I take it, I do well. I mean, I make profits. I make a loss, get FOMO, blow the account, and now I'm back to using a personal account again, and then the cycle repeats over and over again. So I'm really really frustrated about this cycle. I'm trying to get out of it. That's why I scheduled this meeting with you.
I think the thing is you're kind of doing a little too much. I think you need to focus on just like you either focus on
Yeah.
your personal or you focus on your prop firm account because it seems like you're making money, then you're losing money, and then what happens is you just keep
Yeah,
you end up losing more money because you're buying prop firm accounts and then you're blowing those.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I've lost so much money, buying these prop firm accounts, and you know, I feel so, man, so discouraged right now, that I lost all this, and you know, I should be, you know, I should be having, a funded account by now and, start making a living from this. But, I'm still not at that stage yet.
Yeah, you just have to get like the routine. I feel like your routine is not very consistent. Like that's why sometimes your routine is good and you will do very
Yeah.
well. And then once you have a loss, you start to revenge trade and you start
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
once you blow that account, you start another account
Exactly,
without
exactly. Yeah.
like that's why I think you need to slow it down a little bit. I know it's going to take longer for you to get to that point, but I think if you just focus on one goal, right? Your goal is either
Yeah.
pass your platform account or grow your personal account. Just focus on one. Don't trade
I
both.
how I mean, I can use the copier like I was saying before, so I can take the MVS entry, take the trades that you take, and they'll be copied to my prop firm and then my personal account as well. I can do that.
Yeah, yeah, you can do that. So I think, if that might be your first step, because the thing
I
is,
think
like,
that's great.
if you look at the stats here for like all the trades that I've
Yeah.
taken, they're only from the MPSV2. It's like I've only taken like maybe one trade per day. And you can see that, I've had an upward progress with my profits. Like the profits just keep getting bigger and big, or not bigger, but you can
Yeah.
see the scale over here. Like, I'll
Yeah.
have and then I'll never go into like revenge trading or like I'll
Yeah.
never have a downward spiral, right? I'll go up a little bit and then I'll come down a little bit, and I'll go up a little bit and I'll maybe come down a little bit, and then I'll make it right back up because I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think you need to get into that proper mindset where you have this consistency where you win some and then you lose some, but you understand that the losses are part of the game. So
Yeah.
you don't revenge trade and you don't keep, because the thing is, I feel like once you start to revenge trade, it's going to be so easy to blow your account because
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Easily. I'm so frustrated, and it's like every time I make a loss, it's like I have to make that loss back. Like I have to make it back. If I don't, my whole day is just ruined, and I feel like I didn't accomplish anything.
yeah, exactly. So like I think your thing is you need to set some sort
Yeah,
of like loss limit, right? If you have, like for
yeah,
me, if I have one loss for the day, like
yeah,
I don't want it to ruin my day. So I already know if I have that loss, it's okay. I accept the loss and then
yeah,
I'm for that day. And I think that's something that you need to implement because you can see over here, like whenever I have a loss,
yeah,
it'll knock me down maybe like a little bit, but it's not going to knock me down enough to like blow my account. Like it just knocks me down a little bit, and then the next couple of days are good, and I make it right back. Kind of similar to what happened right here in April, like 2 weeks ago. We had the tariff
yeah.
news, and I could have easily blown my accounts at this point, right? But
With the tariff news, yeah, yeah. When the
yeah,
tariff news came out, gold just crashed. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So like with this stuff here, like for me, I only took one loss and I half my risk. So instead of taking the full risk, I went half, and I was able to basically not take as much of a loss. So like you can see my trades here. I took
yeah.
one loss and I was like, okay, I'm done. And then I
Okay.
on Tuesday, I took another loss and then I was done. But when you start to revenge trade, it's like you take one
Yeah,
loss, and you take another one, so that's a double
yeah.
loss. Instead of having this much, I would have doubled my losses. And then you would
Okay.
have done the same thing the next day because you want to make that profit back. You have to like not really trick yourself, but you have to like understand that like the losses are going to happen. And when you have that loss, it's better to just eat that loss and then come back the next day feeling better so that you feel confident about trading again. Because if
I
you're
see.
if you're chasing that recovery, the odds are you're probably not going to recover. You're probably going to blow the account. And I'm sure you've been through that cycle where you really feel that pressure, like, oh, I need to take one more trade to make it back or to break even. And then you
Yeah,
end up taking another loss, and then you're frustrated and you take another one, and then you when you should have just stopped, and then you end up taking
yeah,
two.
yeah. That's what happened. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, and like I can tell from like you become an emotional trader because I've seen your profits before. Like you've had consistent. There was like a time period I remember where you were very consistent, like for a whole month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. You were just like hitting every trade, and then you weren't. When you had a loss, you understood to just get off, and you wouldn't keep going.
Yeah,
So I think you need to get back into that mindset where you have to focus on the wins. Don't focus on the profits as much, but just focus on the wins because that's what I do. I focus on just winning a trade. And like for me, when I look at my calendar here, I don't really care about the numbers of profit. Like the monetary value of the profit doesn't matter to me. I wanted to have a winning day. So like I'll have a losing day here, winning day here, losing day, losing day, losing day. And then now we went on a streak. So even though I lost these trades right here, we've been on a streak and I made it back and then some because I already recouped the loss and I've also made more on top of it because I'm just focusing on winning versus like how much profit. Like for example, today I closed out on my trade a little earlier because it was Friday and the market was just kind of moving kind of weird. So instead of me going for the full profit, I could have made closer to 40,000. I was okay with moving my TP a little closer and I got out at 31 because I wanted to close the day with a win versus risk having a losing day.
Yeah,
You know,
I see. I see. Okay. Um. Okay. So let me see. It's actually 6. I know you said you only have an hour today, right?
yeah, I have another meeting at 4 o'clock, so we
Oh,
probably have
I
to get.
understand. Yeah, I understand. All right. Yeah. So I think we covered a lot today. So pretty much now I think I know what I should be doing next. Now, when are we having our meetup? Because I know you said not everyone came to your wedding. So
Oh yeah, I
are
know.
we having?
There's yeah,
Yeah.
we want to plan a meetup. However, I do have a kid on the way, so my wife is pregnant, and so
Okay.
I can't really travel for like the rest of the year. So
Yeah.
maybe, so hopefully, like maybe at the very end of the year, like once the baby's a little older. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we'll
Yeah.
try to plan something out. I know it's everyone's kind of in different areas of the world, so
Yeah.
uh, we probably have
Oh yeah.
some more.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. You're having a kid. Yeah. Congratulations, man. I know. You're going to be busy now, right? I assume with the kid. I mean.
Oh yeah, no, definitely very
Okay.
busy.
Okay.
Yeah, the meetup is kind of like on the back burner, but definitely we
Okay.
would
Yeah.
meet up with everyone. I think this year seems like a really good year for everyone. It seems like everyone's doing very well with their trading and their progress and making profit.
Yeah.
You can be part of that group of people as well. And I
Yeah.
think now that people are doing well, it's going to be a lot easier for people to travel now that they're finding their success with trading. So I'm hoping that.
Yeah. Yeah. They have so much time on their hands, and not everybody. But on another thing I noticed is that when when the members are taking certain trades, they're winning, and I'm not sure why is it when they're taking it. Is it because it's not because of luck, right? I mean,
No,
because
that
when I
Yeah, because they're following a strategy. Like they're following the
yeah,
strategy that they want to follow, or they're following the MPSV2 with me. So I think that's
even yeah,
yeah, I think that's kind of what you need to start to focus on. So I think if you start to take the same trades as us,
yeah,
you'll have more success versus um
okay,
trading on your own for now. I think for now you should probably just stick with the group. And then in the
mhm,
future, once you have that stability and you have that consistency, then you can start trading
yeah,
on. Because I think right now you're just like you're in a break-even cycle because you have good trades and you have bad trades, and it's
yeah,
like I think the bad trades outweigh the good. Like you'll have some good trades, but then when you go on that the downward spiral where you
yeah,
revenge trade, then that's kind of where it screws it up, right? Because you build up your account, but then you end up basically screwing it up once you go into that revenge trade cycle.
yeah. Okay. All right. You said you had to leave at in 1 more hour, right?
Well, I gotta set up their rooms here, so probably like very soon because our meeting
Yeah.
starts
Let me see
now.
if I have any other questions. Let me see if I have any other questions. Uh, do you I'm thinking about making like a study group or like a Google Docs and then share my ideas, and then other people can you know share their ideas. What do you think about that?
Yeah, of course. No, that'd be great. You can start something like that, and then you could put it on the in the chat, like in the team chat, and I think people will collaborate with you on there because a lot of people are everybody's looking to do well. So I think if you have ideas that you want to share,
Yeah,
like.
and I mean, I messaged a few people, but they weren't very helpful. I mean, some were, but I'm not sure it's because they don't like to be bothered, or you know they don't have the time. Because I know since they're in their live sessions every day, and they're making a lot of money. They must have a lot of time on their hands. So I think they wouldn't mind just, helping other members. I mean, that's why I messaged them, but
Yeah,
not
exactly.
everyone responded.
I think some people are just not replying to you because even myself, if I message people, a lot of times the message goes into like the request, so they don't even actually see the message.
Okay,
I don't think people are ignoring you. I think they just
okay.
don't see the message. Because like for myself, like when I have mentoring sessions with random people in the group, I message them the Zoom link and they never get the Zoom link because they don't actually see the message. I have to like email them or get in contact with
So,
them.
okay, yeah, yeah. And another thing is when sometimes when people take the breakout, it's hitting, and I'm following the same strategy they're following, but it's like I'm trying to figure out why did you guys, take the breakout now, compared to another time.
Yeah, I mean everyone's kind of different, right? Like for me, I don't take the breakouts at all anymore because I'm just focused on taking one strategy, which is the
Yeah,
NPS. Other people, I mean, it's really just intuition sometimes. Sometimes people will see the breakout and they feel confident that the
yeah.
trade is on that direction, so they decide to take it. But I think you're the only person that takes it every day. I don't think everybody takes it very often. I think very
Oh,
rarely people take it. It just kind of depends on like how they're feeling for that day. Like if they think price can be bullish for that day, they'll take it, or if they think price can be bearish, they'll take it. But yeah, I think you're the only person that takes it for the most part.
oh, okay.
So
And
they're selective about the breakouts.
I see, I see. Um, do you remember that day where where I think someone showed you a strategy, and then I think you took that webinar down, if you remember.
Um, there's been like multiple times where like that's happened, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Yeah, there was one that was so good that after the live session, all the mods had a meeting. So you took the webinar down. So I mean, if I were you, I wouldn't personally share it with anyone, not even me, but just use that for your hedge fund.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, that's kind of like something that we've that I kind of implement into strategies. Like I think that strategy wasn't it looked good initially, but then I think that's something that's it's a variation of the MPSV two. So like the MPSV two is like it kind of evolved from that specific strategy, and we're actually using it now. That's the main one that I've been doing on the live sessions.
Do you remember now which one it was?
I don't know exactly because there's like a lot of strategies that we've kind of covered over the years, but it was a variation to the NPS or the NPS V2. It was a
Years ago. Yeah,
yeah.
years ago. It was like a few years ago, and you were showing shapes on the screen, and then you were like pointing at the dots. So if
Mhm.
that reminds you,
Um
because I want us to, stay under the radar. That's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Uh,
oh yeah, no, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we try to stay under the radar, but
yeah,
we always end up on the radar somehow or some way. So yeah, I agree with you. And I tried really hard to stay under the radar, but
yeah.
it never works out. Like, I had to change the company name a while back because we were on the radar. I have to like now I have to register as a professional trader because now NinjaTrader sees me as a professional trader. So it's hard to stay off the radar, even though I try to. It's just I try to stay out of the radar as much as possible, but I always end up on the radar somehow, one way or another.
Okay, yeah. There's just so much, greed out there in this trading industry. That's what I noticed. So
Yeah, and it's annoying because people
it is, yeah,
will steal my
because
strategies and
yeah,
they'll reiterate it into something else or call it something different, and then they resell it as something different. It's annoying.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to, hold you up because I know you're busy, but I mean, I'm so glad we got to speak today after all these years. You know, we've been, trading together, and then, today I finally spoke with you. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, no, I think we had a mentoring session a long, long time ago, but I can't remember. I think it was a
okay.
time ago. But yeah, we could set up another one of these in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get some progress with your trading,
Yeah, definitely.
and then take a lot of notes on your trades. And if you can
Okay.
document your trades, like, write down the timestamps and maybe take a screenshot of it and then just put it in a Google file, like you said. Just document everything that you do so that the next time we meet, we can figure out where your weaknesses are and then we can improve on that. I think the main thing you should probably do is just stick to what we're doing on the live session. I think if you do that, you can most likely pass your evals or grow your personal account. And then once you're confident and you feel good, then maybe you could branch off and do your thing again. But I think right now you should probably stick to what we're
Yeah.
doing because obviously what you're doing isn't working, right? So you
Yeah.
want to find
No.
something that works,
Exactly. Yeah.
and then once you find something that works, then you can make a little tweak. Or you could have a separate account where you do your own trades, but you keep your
But
main.
what? Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. All right. So yeah. So I guess I'll see you on the session Monday because today's Friday, right?
Yeah, we got the weekend ahead of us, so we'll be back on Monday, and I'll
Okay.
probably see you there Monday morning. Hopefully, we can start you off to a good start and
Yeah.
bring your accounts up and get you on that consistent trading basis.
Yeah. Definitely. Um. All right. So yeah, Sean, it was nice talking with you, and I know you're busy now, so but thanks a lot for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, this helped you a lot, and
Yeah,
hopefully,
it did.
moving forward. And
Yeah.
we'll plan another meeting maybe a month out, like once you get
Yeah.
some, and then we'll just keep improving from there.
Exactly. Exactly, Sean. Yeah. It's like I try so many different things, and it's like I never leave K2s because you know nobody has been as consistent as our group. Nobody I've seen out of every trader that I've met on Telegram, out of everything I've tried, every service, it's just K2 outperforms everything. And that's why I'm never going to leave K2. So
Yeah.
that's why I always stay in contact with our group.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's the goal. It's really just finding consistency because my
Yeah.
goal is to make a ton of money in one day. It's to make a ton of
Yeah.
money in a long-term period. So like, you've seen the growth from the start to now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm making way more than I was making like years
Yeah.
ago. So it's just growing
Oh
from
yeah.
there. Just, it's a snowball effect.
Okay. All right, Sean. Yeah, so I'll let you know if I have any questions, in the Telegram, and yeah, we'll chat again on Monday.
Yeah, feel
Yeah.
free to reach out. All right, Steven, have a great weekend, and I'll see you
Oh,
back here on
yeah,
Monday.
definitely. Thanks, Sean. Yeah.
Definitely. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.